Welcome to an enlightening journey. This educational content offers challenging insights. Approach with an open mind. The link for the study guide can be found in the description. Subscribe to join the exploration. Let's dive in without wasting time. Sigma Male Embracing the Strength of Individualism. Chapter 1. Introduction. Conceived as the archetypal counterpoint of an alpha male, a Sigma male is an introverted man who has a quick mind and substantial wealth of knowledge, yet uses his skill and cunning only for personal gain. Unlike a dominant alpha male, a Sigma's quiet charisma serves to amuse himself and bolster his confident outlook on life. Sigmas are lone wolves, reveling in the company of an attractive woman, yet not desiring it for its own sake. The Sigma mystique is at the center of a man who knows himself and is content with his own company. To strive to be a Sigma is to leverage one's inherent maleness in discovering and fulfilling one's own hidden potential in this gynocentric world. The purpose of Sigma-Male.com is to provide a comprehensive guide to all aspects of Sigma maleness for the men who feel the calling to live this way of life. It is the hope and intention of its creator, Ironwood, to shed light on the positive and negative aspects of such a lifestyle and to arm potential Sigmas with the knowledge and wisdom to succeed on their own terms. Additionally, a major goal of this project is to compile a network of Sigmas who can learn from and teach one another and provide a sense of camaraderie for those who live outside of society yet seek friendship and understanding within it. This site is not intended to glorify Sigma maleness, rather is a resource to help men act out their masculine nature in a responsible, intelligent, and self-fulfilling manner. A Sigma male is a man within the sociosexual hierarchy who chooses to live his life outside the normal social dominance hierarchies of society. A Sigma male is a man who lives his life his way. He is a man who does not conform to society's standards or its expectations of him. He has his own views on life and follows his own path. A Sigma male doesn't take the traditional role of being a follower in life. Instead, he creates his own way in life and his own way of doing things. This makes Sigma males very attractive to women. A Sigma male is his own man, and at the end of the day, women can trust a man who has his own mind. A man who follows his own beliefs and doesn't just agree with her to get in her pants. Women find this Sigma male to be an alluring and intoxicating man who is not easy for them to get. In the animal kingdom, the Sigma male would be the wolf who travels alone, but is not a lone wolf. He travels alone because he knows that he is not like other wolves who live in packs. But sooner or later, this lone wolf will find one like him and he will form a pack of only two. This lone wolf leads a pack of two around because he knows this is the best thing for him and his mate. He knows that anything more would leave open too many chances for external influence from other wolves. And the Sigma male is self-aware enough to understand that the influence from others is something he must avoid. The lone wolf travels with his mate, wandering wherever he pleases, knowing that the only thing they really need is each other. Individualism is the sovereignty of the individual. It is the act of placing one's own needs, desires, goals, and the like above the collective, above the external influences that would hinder or suppress those needs, desires, goals, and so on. It is the belief that the individual's needs are more important and more valid than the needs of the majority or the need of the state or the need of the nation. It is the belief that at the end of the day, the individual is going to do what is best for him or herself, even if it would appear that he or she is acting selfishly. And when the individual acts in such a manner, more often than not, they would benefit their society or some other entity. The United States was built on the foundation of individualism. The Founding Fathers did not want to create a country that was heavily influenced by a single entity, such as the monarchies of Europe. They wanted to create a country in which the individual could live and progress in a manner that was most fitting with his desires, provided that he did not hinder or harm the desires of others. This is exactly what the free market system is, an economic state in which the means of production are privately owned and operated for private profit, an economic system that is most fitting with the wants of a Sigma male. And the US is the best example of a society with the most individual freedom, or at least it was for a time. This would change around the mid-19th and early 20th centuries with the increased influence of the federal government and with the world wars. Now our country is becoming more and more influenced by outside entities, but individualism still remains as the key cultural component that distinguishes the US from other nations. This book helps Sigma males to better understand their nature and how to improve their lives within a society that may not always be accepting or understanding of them. By understanding themselves and society at a deeper level, and by becoming true individuals who are capable of effecting positive change, they can live happier and more fulfilling lives while helping society to be a better place. This book also aims to reach out to those who are not Sigma males, but who understand and accept them. Their family members, friends, co-workers, fellow business owners, etc. High alpha males can learn to better understand and respect sigma males within the workplace and become better leaders by doing so. Beta males and alpha females will find valuable methods of self-improvement while learning to better understand their sigma male friends. Parents can gain a deeper understanding of their sigma male children and other family members to better guide them towards success and fulfillment in life. By helping all of these people to better understand the sigma male, we can create an environment that is more accepting and embracing of the sigma male and more encouraging of individualism for the betterment of society as a whole. Chapter 2. The mindset of a sigma male. This is a mindset that is greatly influenced by the fluidity between alpha and beta that the sigma male has. This can change between many different endeavors and act as a chameleon-like ability to mix with many different social groups and situations. But for a sigma male, the mindset is to maintain the balance of social flexibility with a strong independence that is free from the constraints of any hierarchical system or one of employing authority. You must practice resilience and adaptability to maintain this balance and not be dragged toward being subservient to an alpha male, so as to not lose his hard-earned independence and self-reliance. This is often the most challenging aspect for a sigma male, as his talents are sought after by alphas to bolster their own status and social power, and many will not take no for an answer. From a young age, a sigma male will often be marked as an outsider. This person will not be one that fits into many social groups or categories, and is more difficult to define his personality and outlook on life. Although this is in some cases a source of social hardship, the mindset of nonconformity to any singular social group and anti-hierarchy remains strong through any hardship. Sigma males will often have a strong disdain for social or workplace politics, and many find it difficult to relate to the mindset of modern society that often promotes the seeking of status and social power. This mindset is often met with hostility from alpha types who feel the need to bring the sigma male down to conformity with themselves, and beta types will often consider the sigma male to be a social blank slate that is too much influenced by others. This can be a further source of problems, but as stated earlier, the mindset must be that of resilience and adaptability to stay true to the aims of self-reliance and independence. A man is relieved and gay when he has put his heart into his work and done his best, but what he has said or done otherwise shall give him no peace. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Self-reliance and independence are two key principles often associated with the sigma male. A sigma male has complete and utter confidence in his own abilities and judgment, often to the point of arrogance. He doesn't just believe he can do things as well as others. He believes he can do things better than others. He has his own code of ethics and his own philosophy, developed through much introspection. He has a clear understanding of who he is and what he represents, and that doesn't falter in the face of outside pressures or temptations. Nor does he change who he is in order to gain acceptance or favor from others, something that separates him from his alpha, beta, or omega counterparts. Sigma males often have disdain for hierarchical structures and often feel they are above the restrictions such a system places on them. This may result in personality clashes and power struggles when a sigma is employed, causing him to change jobs often or work independently. A sigma male is constantly looking to challenge infrastructures where there is an unfair distribution of power and resources, and is consequently able to make positive changes to society where omega males will continue to be exploited. Due to this independent nature, sigma males certainly can be difficult to control or keep in one place. High-rank authority figures need to be wary of a sigma male, because if he feels too confined or is being exploited, he's likely to disappear without a trace. Though the sigma seeks out time alone, it does not mean they seek isolation. Coming and going as they please, they find comfort in their consistency of their personal routine. During their solitude, they are able to recollect their thoughts, recharge their energy, and gain a new perspective on life. It is in these times alone that the sigma male finds personal growth. Taking what they learn about themselves and the world around them, they apply it, because of their resilience to recover from difficulties, knowing that it is not a matter of if adversity will strike. It's a matter of when. The sigma male is known to persevere through some of the toughest times and not only make it out alive, but to do so with strength and dignity that few can match. Adversity and hardship are no stranger to the sigma male, and they typically have more than a few stories to tell. Due to their uncommon mentality and lifestyle, sigmas realize over time that they simply cannot be understood by everyone. This creates a strong sense of tolerance within them and a realization that trying to change society, the system, or an individual is usually an exercise in futility. Knowing this, the sigma male chooses to adapt to his environment just enough to get by, but not so much that it compromises his values and true self. Autonomy is independence and self-governance in its purest form, and to understand it fully, one must understand how individual tendencies are acted out at a group and national level. If it is the right of a man to be autonomous, then it is the right of a nation. And if it is the right of a nation, then it is the right of an organization or social entity. An autonomous person given the freedom to act in the interest of his own self will eventually part from the others in some way. This is not a negative thing and is simply an expression of natural diversity. The current belief is that society is something that can be perfected, and that to have a better world, everyone must be the same way. The truth is that perfection is unattainable because there is no universal idea of what an ideal state would be, and preservation of station involves relative regression for others. A world in which everyone is the same would be one lacking in diversity, novelty, and excitement. An autonomous individual is one that acts in the best interests of his own self and holds disregard for the imposition of the will of others. And it is such individuals who shape the future and propel us to new frontiers. True autonomy is something that is little understood in our world. Many people who have lived their whole lives as dependents will never experience it, and many others will only understand it on a superficial level. Decision-making is what will often be used to define autonomy, but it is not simply being able to make decisions for oneself. It is the ability to make decisions without external pressure, influence, and with sole consideration for one's own interests. A man in a family may decide that he wants to take a more adventurous career and move his family to a foreign country for the sake of personal development, but in consideration of the greater risk and his family's well-being, he may choose against it. He has made the decision, but it is not an autonomous one. But solitude is not just time spent by oneself. This is simply because people are uncomfortable with others acting outside the group. They fear a loss of control of the individual and fragmentation of the group. So anything that signifies a separation from others is likely to be labeled as negative. But accepting that having control over your own life and privacy is a basic human need. Solitude allows time for reflection and self-discovery, freedom from the influences of others, and the opportunity to stand back and observe the world from a detached viewpoint. All are things which Sigma finds natural and essential, and all are things which will be seen as increasingly valuable in a rapidly changing and complex world. Solitude, defined as time spent by oneself, seems to have negative connotations in today's culture. Adults often talk of kids hiding away in their room as if they are doing something abnormal or unhealthy. People who spend large amounts of time in solitude are often considered to be depressed, antisocial, or even dangerous. In fact, in most cultures, it is considered a form of punishment to be isolated from others. I have always cherished and protected my personal space and solitude. I love it, need it, and when I don't get enough of it, I become irritable and discontent. I have always found it puzzling why some people who claim that they want a better world aspire to make sure that everyone lives the same way as them. Chapter 3. Behaviors of Sigma Males. Putting getting into cars and car repair. If the clutch in his car goes out, a Sigma will look for alternative ways to get where he needs to go instead of calling a tow truck to take it to a shop so it can be worked on. This can add some difficulty to getting things done, but in the end can be a learning experience as well as extremely cost-efficient. With enough time and thought, a Sigma can fix almost anything on his own. Observing and analyzing this behavior is probably the single most defining characteristic of a Sigma. A Sigma male's keen eye allows him to learn a great deal about the surrounding environment in very little time. It is from this need to learn that stacks with independence that causes many to mistype Sigma males as NTAs or ISTPs. It's commonly thought Pisces men are kings of the zodiac. A Sigma male can learn a very great deal about anything that he sets his mind to, but this is only because the subject is on something that he finds to be valuable in some way. A Sigma does not waste time learning about things that will not or cannot have useful application at a later time. Minimalism and simplicity. Though Sigma males can learn to acquire many materialistic goods, it is behaviorally paradoxical in that they prefer to live as simply as possible. A Sigma's ability to conceptualize and his thinking and intuitive nature often lead to him being disorganized in his surroundings. Because of this, he knows that if he does not have many things, there's little that can make a mess. The prospect of travel or mobility is very important to a Sigma male. This makes he prefer that all things in his life are as physically simple as possible. A classic phrase often used by a Sigma is that he wants to live out of a backpack. Whether or not a Sigma has attained or lost all that he wishes to have in his life, this phrase is often very close to a literal reality. One major tendency in Sigma males is the active observation and analysis, especially in boyhood. Often, Sigma male children will wait and watch the behavior of other children rather than joining in, learning the dynamics of the group before choosing to participate or not. Sigma males are also great at noticing the truth of things, focusing on the reality of a situation as opposed to the socially constructed ideal. This often makes them nonconformist, as many social rules are based on what should be rather than what is. This also rings true with their ability to see through the facades that most people put up, although they may not always call people on it. Not content with simply taking things at face value, Sigma males are also adept at analyzing the whys and hows of the way things are. This can often lead to the creation of a personal code of ethics as they analyze and internalize what they feel to be right or wrong. This skill also makes them quite adept at strategy, as they are easily able to notice the chinks in someone's armor or a weakness in an argument. A common method for gaining independence is the disillusionment with material goods. To a Sigma, less is more. Possessions have a way of weighing people down, and offloading the unnecessary can be very liberating. A Spartan existence is often the result, but behind it lies a complex strategy. By minimizing their needs, Sigma males can achieve a great deal of freedom, as they may require less money or dependency on a job, thereby providing more options and mobility. In extreme cases, the Sigma may choose to be homeless for a period as a way of increasing survival skills and decreasing reliance on a system that he feels alienated from. One such individual is the character Ishmael from the book of the same name, who lived at a zoo because it was the only place left for him to blend with the scenery and escape human persecution, being that he was a gorilla. This escapade also demonstrates the Sigma's capacity for lateral thinking and doing things his own way. For Sigma males, the most rewarding relationships are the ones that are easy to maintain. In this sense, the easiest and most rewarding relationships are ones with friends who are very much like them. These are the friends with whom they can be themselves without having to put on an act to explain themselves. Friends like this understand them easily and can become very close, even if they rarely actually spend time together. All that is needed is occasional conversation. With such friends, Sigma males often feel that they can go for long periods without contact and then start right where they left off. This is very convenient for Sigma males who need to disappear for a while to pursue personal goals. Because Sigma males are totally enclosed in their worlds, they simply don't feel that they need to include other people in their lives. They're aloof. They're solitary. This isn't to imply that Sigma males can't make friends. They can and do. Some of them have large circles of friends drawn from many walks of life. However, there is a peculiar thing about Sigma males and their relationships with even their closest friends. They are often slightly distant, as if they are on the edge of the social circle, observing but not truly involved. The freedom and independence of the Sigma male is a topic often on the lips of the men themselves. But what does it really mean? It's often associated with minimalism and self-reliance, and these are certainly part of it. But there is a broader issue of having the freedom to be his own person, make his own decisions, and be free of boundaries and limitations forced upon him by others. It also means having the freedom of movement materially, being able to move from place to place without being forced to stay in one location for someone else's convenience. And it means having the financial freedom to make choices without being limited by the amount of money in his bank account. This freedom is highly valued by Sigma males, and any threat to it will likely result in some form of rebellion or escape from the situation to a place where they can be free. This is why Sigma males are strongly attracted to other MGTOW and men's rights activists who seek to escape the confines of traditional male roles and the gynocentric society in which we live. The concept of flexibility is closely related to freedom and is concerned with the ability to alter behavior or attitude in any way he sees fit, without as much resistance or social consequences, and to do things in the manner and timetable that he sees best. This form of flexibility basically means doing things in the way he sees fit, without compromise and without having to consider others' feelings or welfare. This is quite a self-serving form of flexibility, and typically the younger Sigma male will be less concerned with it, as a result of having less wisdom of experience and crossing the line into manipulation. This is more or less the last phase where Sigma males can rest in their quest to understand themselves and the world around them. After achieving freedom and flexibility, the last goal a Sigma will have is to seek out and achieve personal empowerment. He will seek to exert his will over himself and his immediate environment, often through developing his skills in areas such as music, martial arts, painting, writing, etc., anything that gives him a sense of creating something that is a product of himself. The Sigma is attracted to the concept of the creative flame and will pursue activities that allow him to bring his creativity to the fore. Once settled into a comfortable level of routine with his freedom and flexibility, a Sigma will often become artistic. This doesn't necessarily mean he will become a great painter or musician, but he is likely to value those who are and seek to associate with them. At best, the Sigma will pursue his artistic talents in such a way that he can make a living off it, allowing him further levels of freedom and flexibility. The term status quo is defined as the existing state of affairs. This simply means that the Sigma is more likely not to go with the flow or do things the way they have always been done. This is simply because they see little purpose in getting involved in the typically competitive quests for leadership and social status often seen in human society. The typical alpha wants to change the status quo to his own advantage, as does the beta, albeit to a lesser extent. The sigma, however, is happy to simply opt out of the status games altogether. An example of a sigma male challenging the status quo can be found in the work of mathematician Andrew Wiles, who, although a quiet and unassuming man, challenged centuries of mathematical precedent tied up in Fermat's last theorem. Wiles threw off convention by isolating himself for many years in order to solve the theorem, behaving in a manner more akin to the typical introverted omega type. Wiles was not motivated by desire for recognition or social status, and by virtue of this can be considered a sigma. His eventual solution of the problem was a great personal triumph, one that had no bearing on the external environment. It was a self-actualized victory that is typical of many sigma achievements. Wiles has expressed the satisfaction he obtained in cracking the problem. Failure even left him wondering, what will I do tomorrow if I don't try to prove Fermat's theorem? They are good at creating the new and destroying the old. The rebel and the revolutionary, the smart ones, often alone, never bought. Of course, companies and organizations are trying to bring them into their ranks where they can put them to good use and avoid having them work against the best interests of the enterprise. Previously, there was no term for the male who chose not to play the social game. He was the man who marches to the beat of his own drum, the lone wolf, the hound dog, the outsider. Now there is a name for him. He is a sigma male. He is the heir to the alpha's individualism, but not his social status. He is not a joiner and prefers to maintain his freedom. Sigma males are defined and differentiate themselves from the masses by their mastery of one or more particular skills and often shun extensive training in other areas beyond basic survival. They perform a cost-benefit analysis on nearly every activity they engage in and will be looking for ways to cut losses and increase their margins. This is why sigmas are known to innovate. Given their intense natures and inquisitive minds, they are often responsible for pioneering new ways of thinking or new paradigm shifts. The sigma was behind the Renaissance. It is no surprise that sigma men often enter elite professions such as medicine, law, or other highly skilled domains. These professions typically grant the most autonomy, and earnings are based on performance. In other words, one gets out what he puts in. High income and discretion give a man real power and insulate him from influences he'd rather avoid. Many sigma males are drawn to positions of influence. Though not natural leaders, they will influence in ways that increase their relative power while serving their solitary natures. This makes sigma males excellent advisors to alphas and very dangerous enemies if an alpha should turn on them. The social attitudes of the sigma have a much larger scale of influence than what is typically recognized or intended. By refusing to follow social norms and avoiding societal frameworks that are in place, the sigma creates a philosophy of thinking and the mindset that there are other ways to improve society. By practicing what they preach, sigmas unintentionally influence positive change by leading as examples. The refusal of quotas or affirmative action hires would force an employer to hire solely based on skill and qualification, with the sigma male being the best candidate for positive transformation in today's society. An additional influence the sigma male has on society is inspiration change. The sigma male that has a family in their midlife will begin to realize that his children should not be subjected to the same subpar upbringing that has led him to become a sigma. This will lead to a renewal in efforts to change the structure of society in hopes for a better future. Primarily, entering into his or her chosen profession or workplace, a sigma male will desire to influence positive change within the ranks. Leading by example, this individual will endeavor to prove that there are better ways of doing things and that it is not always necessary to follow a set pattern in secured quest for success. Oftentimes, these persons will delve into research and testing, uncovering alternative methods and taking calculated risks in hopes that it will pay off and be a catalyst for positive change in their given field. An example of influencing global change, Linus Torvalds, creator of the Linux kernel and overarching GNU/Linux operating system, decided to build an OS kernel that was Unix-like, but did not use any code from Unix. This project of his now has global success, and Torvalds has sparked positive change in computer science by offering an alternative to expensive Unix systems and software. This method of change may be viewed as small and unimpactful by some, however, its significance is paramount in alternate thinking and providing different and better methods of obtaining similar objectives in all facets of society. An unparalleled focus on bettering systems and ignited by a determination to guide others to personal realizations, it is common for the sigma to mentor and influence positive change within the lives of others, idealistically aiming to guide his mentee to self-sufficiency and become a mentor himself. An indirect method of influence, but powerful. Nothing has a greater lasting effect than changing the life of another, and the cumulative effect this has on society cannot be ignored. As we discussed prior, micro-macro theory takes into account situations that we can control and how we might influence the decisions of someone else. The idea behind determinism is that an event, a macro form, has a cause, also a macro form, and everything that is perceived to be random is simply the result of an event or decision that we did not have knowledge of. This being said, if a person is unsatisfied with their current state or position, they have the power to change it if they weigh out the costs and benefits to the decision they would make in doing so. A person's state or position is considered to be in a state of equilibrium. This is when the forces between the person and the factors around them are balanced. This can be summarized with facts equals 0, where the person will not move from their current state to any possible else unless they have the intention of doing so. An analysis to this change can be completed in the form of comparative statics. This is taking the idea of microeconomics and applying it to the change in two states for a person. A person's happiness is a very key factor in their life, and what they may perceive to be success will be a means to achieve said happiness. Everyone has their different idea of what they perceive to be happiness, as it is based on the individual and their inherent value judgments. Once a person has determined what may make them happy, they will set out goals in order to achieve it. Goals can be seen as a comparison of one's current state and the desired state, thus making it a decision for a firm. With the work that a Sigma male will do, they will question the validity of this goal. If the goal is still achievable and the circumstances around it are still viable, then there is no reason the person should abandon it. However, if the goal is no longer achievable or circumstances have changed, it would be wise to switch the goal to something else that may yield more benefits. A Sigma male will encourage that this change be towards something that challenges the status quo. Chapter 5. Embracing Individuality. Individualism is a principle defining the self-possessing individual, a person considered to be the basic unit of a social system. Individualism holds that a rational human being exists, is conscious, and is able to make independent decisions. Individualism is the moral stance, political philosophy, ideology, or social outlook that stresses the moral worth of the individual. Individualists promote the exercise of one's goals and desires and so value independence and self-reliance and advocate that interests of the individual should achieve precedence over the state or social group, while opposing external interference upon one's own interests by society or institutions such as the government. This contrasts with other political philosophies which tend to reduce human value to that of a means to the ends of the social body or the divine. Full individualism is the stance that individuals should combine the above into a consistent and achievable way of life. Sigma males already recognize their uniqueness and honor it by not caring what others think of them. They are the ultimate symbol of freedom and individualism. However, they will value being recognized by like minds of the world. Thus, it should be known that full individualism is a pursuit Sigma males should consider. One notable barrier to full individualism for Sigma males is the respect and recognition of their individualistic choices and lifestyle. This will require a realization from society that it is within the nature of some men to not adhere to societal expectations and to not provide the same benefits to the world that others do. While all men should have the right to pursue the life they desire and believe is best, it is often hard for Sigma males to recognize that their way of life is, in fact, correct because it does not resonate with what they have been told throughout their lives. The process of socialization produces a person that society wants, not what a person wants to be. It often makes an individual lose the sense of self-identity. In addition, a lot of negative stigma sticks to a person who acts or thinks differently. His actions would be considered as weird, and he is also considered to be not too wise because it opposes common sense. This is what we experience in our adolescence. At that time, we begin questioning the rules and requirements that are applied over us. But when we oppose them, we face discrimination. Due to the pressure and discrimination, a person should pretend to accept and conform to the rules that he opposes. In fact, it makes a person do role-taking, playing an arbitrary role, and gradually creates a social mask so he can be more accepted by society. But it is definite that it's just not a mere mask for some people. It's the one who is left behind, the real self, and undergoes essence loss when he dies. Recognizing and honoring uniqueness, there is one basic fact about human existence. That is rarely to escape socialization. It's everywhere. Home, school, work, street, cafe, and even church. To be a meaningful part of society, a person has to go through the process of socialization. It's a stage where a person is learning the rules, the norms, and the values shared with other members of society. A person has to follow these rules to be accepted as a member of society, or there will be some negative sanctions for him. We have been through those stages, and the experiences about them vary depending on the individual. But not infrequently, we felt that socialization is like a mandate, as if we are forced to follow without an opportunity to oppose. Many people have spent so long conforming to the expectations placed upon them that they are entirely oblivious to what their own desires and motivations actually are. Consider the process of choosing a career. How often is a career path chosen as a result of familial pressure or the belief that it is what is expected, rather than genuine desire to carry out the work involved? The Sigma male will often feel alienated within an office environment due to the fact that he does not have the same career aspirations as the typical person. This is because from an early age, societal expectations that success and happiness are correlated with high-income employment are drilled into the minds of children. It is vital to remember that wealth and happiness are not synonymous, and the Sigma male may feel compelled to break away from a high-paying job in search of something more fulfilling that allows him to express his individuality. This decision will almost certainly be met with disapproval from family members who only desire financial security for the Sigma male. At this point, it is essential for the individual to recognize the difference between what he wants and what others want for him. If the Sigma male realizes that greater fulfillment can be found from a moderate income job that allows him to express himself, then he must have the courage and confidence in his own judgment to do so, regardless of the negative opinion of others. Satisfaction from life is not something that can be purchased with money. It is something that comes from feeling at ease with one's self and the ability to express one's unique qualities. Societal expectations and norms can be a massive burden on the individual who seeks to live authentically. The Sigma male must always be conscious of what is being done out of personal desire and what is being done to comply with the expectations of others. Learning to differentiate between the two can be a daunting task. In order to fulfill their need for autonomy and identity, Sigma must find a niche in the work and social arena that allows them to express themselves and utilize their unique abilities. Many SIGs find that they are able to find satisfaction in their careers when they are self-employed, working in an artistic field, working with their hands, or working in environments where there is room for autonomy and creativity. Though many SIGs find it difficult to find their niche, the very act of searching for it can be deeply fulfilling as it is in line with their need for autonomy and self-expression. The young Sigma male may feel pressure to conform to educational or career paths that are recommended by others, but it is important for him to understand that he will likely not find fulfillment in these roles, and it is worth his while to search out something that better suits his natural inclinations. Different people find different things fulfilling. However, Sigma males may face an added difficulty in finding fulfillment as they are often rare and unique individuals with interests and talents that may not line up with the mainstream roles available. Moreover, many standard roles or prestigious positions within society may require that Sigma suppress his true nature or engage in actions and behaviors that are incongruent with his values. Many times, Sigma may feel pressure to engage in activities that others find fulfilling or seem prestigious to society, yet do not actually satisfy his personal needs. The end result is often discontent and a feeling that he is not using his full potential or getting fulfillment out of life. In the context of the Sigma, authenticity implies a deep acceptance of oneself and a commitment to actualizing the self in the world. Authenticity is not just about being yourself, it also involves living life in a way that is genuine and true to your values and needs. As an alternative to comparing oneself to others, individuals should compete with themselves. The introduction of the personal goal is a constructive, attainable step towards securing a high self-worth and confidence. Since the goal is personal, it will not vary with the situation or the views of others. The success in meeting one's personal goals will also be a highly causative factor to high self-esteem and self-worth. It is important to note that the goals must be realistic and the individuals should not fall into the trap of perfectionism. Failure to meet perfectionist standards often results in self-punishing, high-achieving, and low-risk-taking individuals with low self-worth. Individuals that desire to cultivate self-confidence and self-worth may find it helpful to consider the comparison they make between themselves and others. When people compare themselves to others, they engage in a no-win game. If they compare favorably to others, they typically elevate themselves to a supercilious and conceited level. This prevents high self-worth as they remain contingent on the views and affirmations of others. If one compares themselves in a negative light, they merely perpetuate a cycle of low self-worth, since they are more than likely to be heavily biased on their opinion or have an imperfect hypothesis. It is more than probable that they are selling themselves short. Chapter 6. Forging Your Own Path. Setting personal goals and priorities might come naturally to you, but the benefits of doing so are much higher when embracing Sigma. The Sigma male is a relentless goal setter. He knows what he wants and he goes after it with a quiet persistence. Setting goals is important because it gives direction. The difference between a Sigma and others is that he will set his own goals, and these goals will be longer term and less influenced by societal factors. He doesn't care about keeping up with Jones because he doesn't care about the Jones. You need to realize that your life is no dress rehearsal and how quickly time passes you by. Setting goals forces you to take the steering wheel and gives a sense of purpose and achievement. Goals call for the utilization of your faculties to their full potential, and they must be realistic and attainable. Set your priorities by deciding what is most important to you. Always focus on the vital few rather than the trivial many, and never be tempted into doing what you would rather not do. This one method can help you on the path to freedom. One of the key strengths in goal setting and keeping focus is that it will encourage risk-taking. Mentioned in section goal setting in uncertain situations is essentially about taking control and increasing the probability of a positive outcome. Goals will allow you to weigh up alternatives, and you will be less impulsive and reactive. By setting goals, you will also have greater self-belief and personal resilience to keep on trying and improving your approaches to goal attainment. Goal setting and purpose in life have been linked to individuals who are happier and less prone to mental disorders. Setting personal goals is an important process because the goals set are the driving force of someone's life. There are several types of goals, including short-term, long-term, and beyond-life goals. Different people will have different goal-setting behavior according to their respective personalities. A Sigma male type person will not set a goal that is too high because he is aware that the potential possessed is not maximal in the extroverted environment. Starting from here needs to be seen how Sigma male builds good behavior to set a goal. This is very important because the quality of the goal will affect the quality of life. Sigma male are advised to set simple, clear, and realistic goals. Start by setting goals that usually start from the easiest, which if the achievement of this goal will not be a burden, and the result will be considered something important. Distance goals related to the things worked on. Set the goal to get maximum results from the work done. Usually Sigma male are people who have different jobs, but too busy on one job to make better results, and the goal is a very big burden. Step by step, Sigma male can set more grand goals of the results of such work. Long-term goals are aims for all life's work done. This goal is a long-term investment, and the result is obtained when it is old. Step by the goals make the person should always improve the potential and quality of his work. An example of a fallback plan could be found in Robert Greene's 50th Law, which cites the story of rapper 50 Cent. He made it known from his first entrance into the music industry that his intention was to reach the top in his field. In order to catapult himself there, he saw it as a necessity to take the fast-track route and create a huge amount of publicity. Some of the politically oriented rappers on the scene took offense to 50's rise in power, and a war of words began, eventually escalating to someone taking a shot at him 9 times in his own home. The event, while being something that no normal person would ever want to occur in their life, only served to give 50 more to talk about and further the legend of his indestructibility. This was a high-risk situation. 50's life was something he definitely did not want to lose, however the potential gains were enormous. So with the warning that having no insurance is too great a risk for any man to take, it is still a good idea to have one. This can be seen in 50's foresight to keep the mentioning of what had happened to him minimal and focus on the positive outcomes. Risk-taking is a common attribute among Sigma males, and one that leads to success when done correctly. It can be said that any goal or triumph that is of value involves some degree of risk. Low-level Sigma males are inherently aware of this and usually will take the safer route. For instance, obtaining a degree will be seen as a less risky option as opposed to trying to learn a trade or start a business without the correct knowledge of what is involved. But to truly forge their own paths, they must embrace high-stakes, high-gain situations. This may mean leaving the aforementioned degree to pursue the business idea that until now has just been a side project. During this, Sigma male should ensure that they only stake what they can afford to lose, and if possible have a fallback plan. You should not be gambling, which inherently involves risk without concern for the consequences. The Japanese have a saying, "Nanakorobiyoki," which translates as "fall 7 times, get up 8." This saying encapsulates the never-say-die attitude that is required when embracing failure as a learning opportunity. Resilience is an essential quality required to achieve this. High levels of self-efficacy are also important. A person with low self-efficacy will lack confidence in their abilities and as such will view failure as a result of their inability to succeed, often leading to complete withdrawal of effort. Those with high self-efficacy will view failure as a lack of effort or a lack of application of the skills required to succeed. Thus, effort will be maintained in skills developed to try again. The ability to learn from one's own mistakes is paramount to success. In an unpredictable and ever-changing world, everyone will encounter failure. It is how one deals with failure that reveals true character. Most people have a deep-seated fear of failure and will go to great lengths to avoid it. However, in doing so, they are avoiding risk and stagnating personal growth. Embracing failure as a learning opportunity involves a major mindset change. It involves separating one's identity from one's performance. Just because you have failed at something does not make you a failure. It is an event that has occurred and one that can provide valuable experience. The Sigma doesn't leave his social and emotional supports to chance or proximity. He understands the need for personal time, respect, and reciprocation and doesn't want his inner circle to become an obligation of another's convenience. He values a few close, reliable friends over a large group of acquaintances, finding it necessary to be able to vent and open up without fear of drama or breach of confidence. Due to their natural introversion, Sigmas are often the unofficial therapists or counselors of other types, and while they may be a pillar of stability and good advice for their friends, they can become overwhelmed by the burdens of others. This is often draining for Sigma, with a sudden or parasitic friend causing more stress and drama than they are worth. Due to their natural introversion and high standards, many Sigmas find it difficult to meet people who they fully respect or are able to truly relate with, and may suffer from feelings of isolation or being misunderstood. This is further exacerbated by their tendency to mask emotions to avoid appearing vulnerable or burdensome to others. Additionally, Sigmas may face challenges from aggressive alpha and beta types who feel threatened by the Sigma's lack of deference and self-reliance. This can lead to ostracism and bullying in school, the workplace, and social settings. Sigmas should be prepared to defend themselves and not be afraid to seek alliances with like-minded individuals who can assist in diffusing potentially dangerous situations. Documenting any incidents of harassment, provocation, and instigation of violence perpetrated against you by these types is also essential, as this will serve to undermine their position, the act of bullying and harassment, and build a case to which an aggressive response can be based if necessary. This journal will serve a dual purpose. Should the need arise, it can be used as evidence in criminal and civil court proceedings, and it methodically will articulate the cause and effect of the bully's actions and provide a framework for a suitable response.
If you found this content enriching and valuable, we would be deeply grateful if you could express your appreciation through liking and subscribing. Your support is incredibly meaningful and enables us to continue creating content that resonates with you. For those who think this is a great gift for yourself or for your loved ones, you can find the link in the description.